It says his daughter was doing research into their family, and it shows a Nordic line on both sides of what is predominantly a Scottish-Irish lineage. He's wondering if you have any suggestions on how they can learn more about the Nordic aspect of their background. He says they may have also been pirates at one point also. So he says, thanks for any information and points in the right direction. So essentially, my answer to this is basically your genealogy is, of course, the cornerstone of your research, and what you find out is going to be what you find out. A number of the clans of Scotland, as we know, have a strong Nordic influence, or even were mythically founded by a Nordic ancestor. Always take the founding father story of clans with a grain of salt. Some of them are definitely documented, some of them are not. The Nordic factor goes back to the time period of what's referred to as Scandinavian Scotland, which was basically from roughly the end of the 8th century up through even as late as the 15th century, although by then the influence was really minor, where you had Norwegians who came in and settled the Orkneys and the Hebrides and some areas inland. And they held on to this for a long period of time, and they were in constant conflict with like the Irish and some of the proto-Scottish kingdoms like Alba during that time period, but they were there. So my advice would be to look at general histories of England, not England, of Britain. Look at as much as you want of the early histories of the British Isles, if you want more of a sense of how that cultural influence happened. Scotland, what we know of as Scotland now, is really kind of a melting pot of several different influences, from Anglo-Saxon tribes and Picts and Gaels and the Norse, all of it. So yeah, a lot of us have some Nordic ancestry somewhere in the mix, some more than others. Especially if you're a clan from that region, like the MacDonalds, you got a huge Nordic influence. So I don't have a solid single recommendation, except that you're going to want to look at history at the macro of what's usually referred to as the Dark Ages, and see what you can find out there.
My brain goes to 1985, 88. Take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow. There's a lot of stuff out there. So yeah, read up. It's interesting. If it's your family history, there will be none like it. So learn as much as you can about your individual ancestors, where they came from, and the areas where they came from. Then go research those areas. It all is regional as much as it is individual. So research individual areas and your own family history for a more complete picture.
Yeah, the issue with Scottish history is that it gets very nebulous once you get backwards past like the 16th century, 15th century. I did jot down a couple of recommendations. Two books that do cover the Norse influence in the area is check out the Irish Annals, which is an old record, and then look at the sagas, particularly the what's called the Orkneying saga, which is basically the saga of the rulers of the Orkneys. If you want a sense of the culture and the history, how they wrote it down then, history, that's a good place to start. Archaeology would be the other. But you basically are going to need to, the further back in time you go with this stuff, the more you have to kind of look at the macro and what was happening with the general cultural trends, and then imagine how your ancestors fit into that. But those are two recommendations. If you just want to go hit, your local library, those two books right there deal with the topic specifically.
Yeah.
I'm glad I remembered I wrote them down. Hey, thank you for watching. What is your Celtic heritage like? Are you a mix of Irish, Nordic, Pictish? Tell us in the comments about your history a little bit. If you like this video, check out this playlist on Celtic history. If you want to know more about the Nordic influence on kilts, check this video out.